Have you ever had a conversation with someone or people, and then after the conversation was over, the very moment that you walked away from the conversation, guess what happens to you immediately? Or guess what was your experience? You just started thinking and then talking to yourself in this way. Like, for example, did I really say something that is very stupid during the conversation? Maybe I really talked too much during the conversation. What did I really say that really made their mood to suddenly change? They probably think that right now I am awkward after the conversation. If you have ever done that, then please allow me to use this great opportunity to tell you that you are not alone in what you experience, okay? Because so many people, I mean it, so many people do not struggle in their conversations just because they really lack conversational skills. But so many people are rather struggling in their conversation just because they always replay every of their conversation that they have over and then over again in their minds. But the honest truth that you really have to know is this: overthinking does not really improve your conversations at all, okay? Because overthinking quietly steals your confidence away from you, but unknowingly to you, okay? And that is why in today's video, I will be showing you exactly how you can stop overthinking in every of your conversation that you have, so that you can start enjoying, talking to people without you mentally criticizing yourself just after the conversation ends, okay? And that is why it is very important for you to stay with me until the very end of today's video, because the last lesson that I have for you in today's video really changed how I started thinking about my conversation. And so, with confidence, I am here telling you that the last lesson in today's video has what it takes, or it is packaged in a way that is going to completely change how you think about your conversations from now henceforth, just like me. Okay, now pause and let us begin or dive in into today's video properly with an important question that I have for you first. Why do we always overthink? Most people really believe that everyone is paying close attention to everything that they say, but in reality, the bitter truth that we really need to accept is this: it is not everyone that is paying a close attention to everything and then anything that we are saying, as we often think. Because sometimes, the honest truth is this: other people or the other person too is really thinking about their own life, about their own worries, and what they are going to say next. So you see, you are just judging yourself far more harder than other people are actually judging you. So from now henceforth, you have to really take it very easy on yourself, and thank God, because you have now realized this. It will now, take away the huge amounts of pressure from you. And that will really go a long way in helping you in your conversation. There is one mistake that many of us are really making. We want to always have a perfect conversation. And the sincere truth is this: we can't achieve it. It is impossible because we are imperfect humans. that have different personality, that have different beliefs, that have different backgrounds, that have different environments, that have different feelings and then emotions. And you see, all of those things that I just mentioned to you always affect our conversation with others, positively or negatively, but sometimes unknowingly to us. And that is why we cannot have the perfect conversation that we always dream of having all the time in our life. Okay? Now, most people always believe that every of their conversation has to be impressive, but it doesn't work that way, because the truth is sometimes some of our conversations are exciting, some are ordinary, and some are short. But that is just perfect and fine, okay? Because the truth is this: it is not every, interaction that we have in our life that really has to change, someone's life for good. Because sometimes a simple conversation is just enough. And when you stop chasing after perfection in your conversations, guess what happens immediately? Your conversations becomes much easier. Now, you need to be ready to accept, small awkward moments in your conversation. But hey, most people will not tell you, but you must be aware that even the confident people that we so look up to and then admire, they used to have this experience, of awkward moments in their conversation. You understand? Because sometimes there are pauses in our conversation. Sometimes people misunderstand each other in conversation. Sometimes the jokes that we make in our conversations don't land well. And of course, that is not a big deal, because that is normal. Okay? Now, the difference is that confident people don't treat every awkward moment like a disaster, but confident people simply continue talking. So, it is very important for you to always remember this: that one awkward moment in your conversation does not really define the entire conversation if you don't give room for it to do so. Okay? And so don't try to always read people's mind, because this is one of the biggest causes of us really overthinking after a conversation. If someone does not smile, we assume that they don't, like us, or they have, something in their mind against us. If someone replies you with one word, you just assume that you said something that is wrong. If someone looks away during a conversation with you, you just think that they are bored with you. But here is the truth: you don't know what they are actually thinking at that moment. Maybe they are just tired. Maybe they are just distracted. Maybe, they are having a difficult day or moment. So stop creating negative stories without evidence. But you should rather focus on what you know, and not what you are just imagining in your head to be. Okay? Now, you have to stop replaying every word after a conversation that you have. I know that many people, really replay every sentence that they have in a conversation. For example, I should have said this, or I should have said that. What if they misunderstood me? But here is, a healthier habit that I really have for you to start practicing from now henceforth. And so instead of you asking, did I sound perfect in this conversation? you should rather ask yourself, did I really treat the other person with kindness and respect? I think thinking in this manner goes a long way in helping you in your conversation. If the answer is yes, then you have already done well. So, congrats. And let me quickly remind you that nobody really remembers every sentence that you say during your conversation with them. But most people will always remember how you really made them to feel during and then after the conversation that they really had with you. Okay, and so please always give yourself the permission to be what human, because one of the greatest gifts that you can give to yourself is a permission for you to be imperfect. Okay, and so if you don't if you don't have to know the perfect answer, it is fine. You don't have to be funny all the time. You don't have to really sound intelligent all the time, because you are a human being that is made up of flesh and blood. And you really need to know this. The people that you so admire also in your life really make mistakes too. And confidence does not really come from you never making any mistake at all. But confidence really comes from you knowing that you will be okay and fine even when you make mistake. Okay, you may let me say you have to always focus outside and not inward, because one of the habits that really changed my perspective is this: instead of me to constantly ask myself, how am I doing, I started asking myself, how can I make this person to feel confident? And so notice the shift. When your attention moves away from yourself and towards the other person, anxiety begins to fade away. And great conversation are really built on curiosity and not self-consciousness. Okay? Now, you have to keep on practicing and do not judge yourself, because every conversation is a practice and not a final exam that you are having. So, please be easy on yourself, because the people who really communicate well in life that we see today, and then we so admire them. We are not really born that way at all. So what did they do that really made them to be so good in communicating? It wasn't magic. It wasn't inbuilt in them, but they all improved on one conversation at a time. And so you have to know this about their conversation. Although as good as they are, or as good as they are in communicating, some of their conversation really went well, and some did not really go well for them. But you know what, they kept talking. So don't judge yourself after every conversation again, over and then over again. But you should rather learn from your conversation, and then smile, and then move on no matter how the conversation ends. Okay, and if you are to only remember one thing from today's video, then remember this: people connect with authenticity and not with perfection. So the less you overthink, the more natural your conversation then becomes. And then the more natural that you become, that is exactly the more people will not always enjoy talking to you. Okay, and so if this video really helped you, then I will really appreciate it if you can really give this video a like, share this video subscribe to this channel if you have not yet subscribed. And I will also love to hear from you in the comments, okay? What is one thing that you really overthink after talking to someone? You might discover that many of us are really struggling with exact same thing, okay? Thank you so much for watching today's video, and more importantly, you should take good care of yourself because you are so special to me, and so you have a special place in my heart, and I will see you again in my next video. Don't go nowhere, okay?